Hello, beautiful moms and entrepreneurs. My name is Charisse Walker, and I'm your host of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. This is a place where we come together to learn, grow, and inspire. So sit back, relax, and let's get started. Hello, Unbreakable Mompreneurs. Are you feeling stuck? Are you feeling like you're not really sure about how you're wanting to manage your business or where you're wanting to go, or you're having a self-worth or self-esteem issue? Well, today is your day because we have Brittany Hopkins-Switlick in the house, and she's an author, she's a yoga teacher, she's a business owner, and she's so much more. So without further ado, Brittany, why don't you introduce yourself to us?
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here. Yeah, I'm a mom, a author, all the things you said. And in addition to all the things you said, I am also my ego, which is Brandy with an I, with a heart over the I, as it helps me love her rather than be angry with her all the time. Yeah, I used to own a yoga studio and I just love looking back. I don't necessarily love it, but there's nothing I can do about it now, but I love looking and seeing all the ways that I let Brandy run the show so that I can then not do that moving forward. But as a small business owner, right, it's wearing all the different hats to get started. I'm the website designer, I'm the social media marketing, I am the accountant, I am all of the things, right? And so when I was overwhelmed and stressed, I let Brandy take the lead, not knowing that that's what I was doing. I think that was a little bit more than an introduction, but I think it kind of paints a picture of who I am on the opposing side of all of the list of credentials.
See, I love that. And I love that you're vulnerable about because I was actually just having this conversation in my head last night, literally last night. So it's always timely for me. Where I have six kids, and my first four, like my youngest of the first four, he's 20, he's out of the house, or he will be in a month. And then I have the younger two, that one is still in elementary school. And I'm thinking it's been like 21 years of elementary school. I'm tired, but I like elementary school more than the others because we can go on trips. We can do anything if they miss, whatever, right? But junior high and high school, they get participation points. So I was thinking, like, I've been up, I've been getting my kids ready for school. I've been doing, like, I'm the mom that I wanted to be with these others. And I was thinking back one particular child, and I'm like, I wasn't a very good mom with her. My husband's like, you can't say that. And I'm like, but she, in sixth grade, she got up, she packed her lunch, she got herself ready, and she got herself out the door. Like, now, granted, I had a whole bunch of health issues at that point, but still, I'm like, I should have been there. It doesn't matter how many health issues I had. And my husband's like, you can't do that. You know, she's independent. She's the way she is because of that. And I'm like, yeah, but I wasn't a good mom. And so you start thinking like that. And then it's like, oh, wait a second. And so it's easy to go through a rabbit hole. Oh, well, as a boss, how am I? Or as someone taking care of their clients, how am I? And so, how do you, if somebody's like listening to this and they're feeling overwhelmed or they're feeling bad about themselves, like, oh, you shoulda, coulda, woulda, what is your advice to them?
Mm, Thank you for sharing that. And wow, six
Yeah.
kids, and here you are glowing, like
The
impressed.
rain.
My first clue that your ego was talking,
Mhm.
and the first clue for when my ego is talking is that word should.
Yeah.
Should is I bring into my yoga teacher trainings two kind of modern tools, the drama triangle and the empowerment dynamic. And the drama triangle it was created by a man named Stephen Cartman, a doctor of psychology in the 60s. And he says, anytime we're feeling powerless
Mhm.
or like not at peace, we're likely playing the role of victim, persecutor, or rescuer.
Oh, wow.
And that's when my ego is running the show.
Mhm.
And so the should is the persecutor role. The ego is saying it should have been this way, or I should be doing this now, whether it's with a client or an employee or our children or ourselves or our partner. And the opposite of should is curiosity. Like should feels very rigid, like there is only one option. Whereas curiosity, like, I wonder what's possible or what could happen. I use ChatGPT to help me with captions for my reels and things. And I say, what I find myself typing, what should I caption this? And I'm like, oh, that's my ego saying there's only one way.
Oh, wow.
Instead of what could I caption this? And so thinking about with your oldest, like, I should have done X, Y, or Z. Yeah, nothing we can do about the past. And
That's
that leaves it that there was only one way,
mhm.
right? Whereas moving forward, it's like, what could I do now?
Yeah,
How could I support her now?
right,
Is
right.
there repair that I could do now?
Mhm. And I think yesterday, like, I just had this overwhelming feeling text. I hate texting for those moms if you're in the same boat. I'd rather have a phone call or a conversation, but my kids are all doing their own thing and starting new jobs or in school or in class. They can't call. So I just texted each one of them different things yesterday and like, I love you. And even my husband, totally vulnerable, like, thank you so much for going to work every day. He's like, he immediately calls me, are you okay?
Oh,
And I'm like, okay, I need to do a better job at this. I can tell, right? And I think that I love that. I love when you talked about the triangle, that you're a victim, a persecutor, or what was the third one?
victim, persecutor, or rescuer.
Rescuer. And
The
I love,
rescuer is the part is the when the ego says, I'll do it for you
mhm.
because you don't see them as capable.
Yeah, yeah.
Or the ego is like, give me some chocolate
Mhm.
because I need to rescue myself, like looking for a rescuer.
Mhm.
But the opposite, what I love is that in the 90s, a guy named David Emerald and his partner Donna Zajong came up with the opposite of the drama triangle is the empowerment dynamic. So the opposite of a victim, the ego is the victim, the higher self is a creator.
Mhm.
The opposite of the rescuer, the ego is the rescuer, the higher self is the coach.
Wow.
And then the opposite of the persecutor is the challenger. So the rescuer is like, let me just do it for you, is enabling.
Mhm.
Whereas the coach is like, how can I support you? Puts it over there, the ball's over there in their court. What support do you need? And it lets them tell you what they need instead of you assuming that you know what they need.
I love that.
And then the opposite of the persecutor that says you should be doing it this way is the challenger that provides loving pressure. It's like, let's try that again. I have a 7-year-old and he's just like, no. I'm like, let's try that a different way. Like that's me being a challenger in the moment of like giving it like loving pressure
Mhm.
instead of should, right?
I love that. So how do you shift those patterns? Because we've been doing it for years. And I know for me, there was a time in my life where I was a super victim. And my dad, I was in a relationship that was not healthy. And he goes, Charisse, you're becoming a person I don't recognize and I don't like her. And that I
Mm.
remember driving. I'm like, oh, because I really respected my parents. And for him to say that, it was just my heart sank. And I'm like, oh wow, I gotta do some self-inventory. And so for me, that was kind of the change where I'm no longer the victim. I'm not stuck in this relationship like I feel like I am. And now I'm gonna make a change. But how do you help, or what's your advice to get people out of that?
Mm. First of all, I love that your dad was a challenger in that moment.
Mhm.
And you could have, if you were all the way in victim role, you would have heard him as a persecutor.
Oh, that's true.
But it sounds like you chose to hear him as a challenger, that he loved you
Yeah.
and you knew that he loved you and he was there to support you.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, habits are hard to break, right?
Mhm.
I was in a 16-year relationship, married for 11 of those years. And my son was born 14 years into that relationship. And I like to say that he freed me because it was like, oh, this is not what I want to model as healthy relationships. This is not what I want to model as what love looks like, and so many things. And yeah, it took honest self-awareness, right? And I had been practicing yoga for 16 years at that point, and I was using yoga as a band-aid. Like it made me feel good in the moment, but I was still just hiding from behaviors. Like I didn't realize how codependent I was. And it was like, oh, I'm going to shrink. And my ego was so present. It's like I could show up to work as my higher self for the most part, except for when somebody did something wrong and my ego would take over and then whatever. But like with friends, my higher self would take the lead. But in this relationship, I was so, Brandy was the primary driver of the car in that relationship. She was like, you need to shrink, otherwise he'll abandon you. Let's just do it. Like, I always laugh because I wouldn't accept that I like Taylor Swift because he would have made fun of people who like Taylor Swift. Um, so
Oh,
yeah, it took some courage. And actually, the major key for making the shift besides therapy was meditation. I started doing a 30-minute everyday meditation practice that my best friend Molly had taught me. And I'm not saying people are like, I'm not going to do 30 minutes a day.
mhm.
Don't worry about that. Just like start with getting present and holding space for that part of yourself that felt like they needed to shrink, that part of yourself that felt like they needed to people please, that part of yourself that was super judgy all the time, or whatever it is that was playing either victim, rescuer, persecutor, or all three.
Yeah.
Step one is having compassion for that part of yourself. In my book, in chapter two, I think it's chapter two, I have people write a letter to their ego. And it starts with thank you for what you've given me is what you've cost me in the plan moving forward.
Wow.
And
That's
I got that from Terry Real. He's a family marriage therapist.
mhm.
But he has you write it to your adaptive child. Same idea. Our ego is developed in childhood, and they either shifted and stayed a child or became an inner critic or whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
And so, thank you for trying to keep me safe. Thank you for teaching me that I can accomplish a lot of things. Thank you for giving me a willingness to whatever it is, right? But what you've cost me is authentic connection. What you've cost me is peace. You've cost me health. You've cost me feeling loved. The plan moving forward is I've got us. I'm a grown up now. I've accomplished a lot of things and I'm very capable and I'm strong and I'm intelligent. And if you need my attention, I often feel like Brandy's tugging on my shirt sleeve the way a 4-year-old will, or like pulling on, they grab you and pull you.
Mhm.
And it's just like, oh, I need to take a moment. I need to go in the other room and have a conversation with myself or open the journaling app and see, like, oh, right now you're feeling like you don't matter. Right now you're feeling stupid, right? Whatever the limiting belief is that's being triggered. It's like being willing to stop and have the conversation. It's a little bit like being in a grocery store with a kid having a meltdown. It's like, oh, we need to stop. We need to leave right now. Like, we can't just bulldoze through this. We need to go have a timeout with ourselves and check in.
And I think that that as a mother especially is so important because there are times where and I actually don't get this way anymore. I wonder why. I can't remember the last time I was beyond frustrated that I'm just like, ah! Um, so that's a good internal step for
Mm.
there. But I remember I had two special needs boys, and one was like, oh my gosh, so hard, right? And so sometimes we go in this autopilot and we just have to like we're survive. We got to survive. We got to do this. We got to do that. And realizing that we actually do need to take some time for ourselves and give ourselves a timeout, and it's okay. Like that, I remember the first time that I ever went and got my nails done or something, or went and got a massage. It's like I can't do that. That's time away from my kids that I'm already gone from them all the time. I shouldn't do this. But what I realize is the more that I do it, the better that I the healthier I am. Like, so now once a month, faithfully, I go get a massage. That's just something I do. I feel no guilt. I feel better afterwards. And so I think taking the time and realizing it's okay because your bucket needs to be filled.
Hmm.
So I love that advice that you have. And I
Hmm.
love the letter that you wrote, like that you have people write. That's amazing.
It's a really powerful practice. It's pretty emotional when you get all the way into it. Yeah, what you're saying about taking time for yourself, like moving the body is another magical
Yes.
shift of energy of like take a walk
Hmm.
while you're walking, not zoning out, but like actually feeling your feet hit the pavement as you walk
Hmm.
or riding a bike or and actually one of the biggest, quickest, easiest tools to shift is gratitude.
Yeah.
There's so much research, the Heart Math Institute research on gratitude,
Hmm.
that when we feel grateful, our heart rate slows down and steadies, and then we think better. Science says it. When we feel frustrated, our heart rate gets erratic, and then we can't think at all. Science.
I actually created, it's called the Has Method. It's in this book that talks about
Mm,
that. Like you halt, you realize how you're feeling, right? So take a
mhm,
pause, realize it, and then acknowledge, okay, what's going on? And then you're going to try to shift your thinking. So if you're like, oh, I'm so frustrated, I'm so angry, I'm so this or that, like halt and really acknowledge how you're feeling and why you're feeling like that, and then shift it to something
mhm,
more positive because
mhm,
when you do realize how grateful and like right now we have three mortgages because of some renters and things. It's not pleasant. Tomorrow some checks are getting cashed from our bank account and that hurts. But I'm grateful that we have the money to be able to do that. I'm grateful that we've had these houses for income that got us through, so I'm like trying to say all these positive things and then I'm like, we need to sell these houses. And so gratitude is a big thing that if more of us would look outward and service, I think is something else, then it does change a lot
mhm.
about who we are.
Yeah, gratitude in combination with that compassion piece that I brought up earlier.
Hmm.
You know, when I was a kid, there was no like, I see that you feel angry. It makes sense that you feel angry, and we're going to do this thing anyways. So I have to do that for myself now because I do it for my kids. So doing it for myself, I see that right now you feel frustrated. It makes sense that you feel frustrated. And we are capable of whatever it is. And gratitude, like you just said, like the shifting of perspective. So
Yes.
good.
So let's shift gears for a second, and I want to talk about like being a business owner. And you talked about Brandy and how your ego and as a business owner, what did you learn that you wish you would have known starting out?
That not everybody needs to be my friend.
Yeah.
That's the thing that Brandy needed to know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I owned a yoga studio, so it was like I'm hiring like-minded people. Um, yeah, and also what's showing up is like I never realized when I wrote my business plan, nowhere in there was the plan for when I was going to need to fire somebody.
Yeah.
Nowhere in there was you're going to have to fire somebody for stealing money, for leaving the door unlocked too many times, for not showing up, all those things.
Right.
And um, yeah, my ego was caught off guard
Mhm.
and was like, oh, like the panic, right?
Mhm.
Um, yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, you did. You did. And the other one is now talking about being a mom. So, motherhood is one of those things that until you are a mom, it's hard to understand, right? Because before it's all about you or it's about your partner, it's about your animals, whatever. That I think that as a mom, sometimes, people give you advice, unsolicited, not unsolicited, but if you could talk to a 19-year-old first-time mother who's just starting out, what advice would you give her if you could give her anything? And it doesn't have to be just about being a new mom.
Mm. Check in with your posture. There's so much research, right, on fake it till you become it. You've seen that Amy Cuddy YouTube video on fake it till you become it. And it's like just changing your posture signals to your brain that you are awesome, basically. And as a new mom, you spend so much time over your baby, right? Huddling the baby. When I was, yeah, 4 weeks postpartum with my first, and I was depressed. I didn't want to admit it. My mom was like, do you think maybe? And I was like, I'm a yogi. I don't get depressed. And then I noticed how much time I was spending here for him. That then once I noticed that it was awkward to like nurse sitting up tall. Like that didn't really work. But it was like how, like after every nursing session, it was like, okay, I need to sit up and open up, right? Even with little kids, they're like, we're still so down, like in their world. So just checking in with posture as much as possible, as simple as that seems or little as that seems, it makes a huge difference.
I love that because I used to be that, where I would have like going to physical therapists or something, or they're like, Charisse, you're hunched over. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm not hunched over. Then they show me in the mirror, and I'm like, and so that is something I've purposely tried to work on a lot is posture. And you know what? It does go along with your self-esteem. Because if you, as a sociologist and psychologist, whatever, that they used to do studies where they'd set up a camera at the end of a hall
Mm.
of a school building, right? So elementary school, high school, whatever. And they'd just have it at the end of the hall and they'd watch kids walk down the hall. And so the kids that were like confident, had friends, did things, they're walking down the center, they're talking to people, they're standing up. The kids that were not, like a little more shy or felt like they didn't have any friends, sometimes they're trailing the wall like this.
Mm.
They're hunched down, they're not making eye contact, and they're just walking very close to the wall. And it was
Mm.
very interesting to watch because it is true. If you stand up, like sit up straight, stand up straight, and you do have more confidence, you do have like you're happy. And instead of looking down all the time, look up. There's a big difference.
Mhm. Have
That's
you taken a yoga class before?
I have. Mhm.
And afterwards, how do you feel generally?
So for me, sometimes it's a little difficult because I've, I've gotten better, but turning off my brain has been
Mm.
difficult. So I hated it when I first
Mm.
started, to be honest with you.
Mm.
And now it's like, oh, okay, no, I can do this now.
Yeah,
And you feel more relaxed, more just at peace and lighter, taller.
yeah. Well, I asked that because if you think about the cues that a yoga teacher is giving you most of the time, they're telling you to pull your shoulders back
Yeah. Hmm.
and they're telling you to look at one spot and they're telling you to breathe on purpose. And so for an hour, basically, you're power posing
Hmm.
just with your legs and arms in different positions. Like I'm in mountain pose, I'm pulling my shoulders back. I'm in warrior two, I'm pulling my shoulders back, right? I'm doing a core pose, but the teacher's telling me to pull my shoulders back. And they're there reminding me to breathe the whole time. It's
So if our listeners wanted to find you or get a hold of your book, how would they do that?
my website, brittanyhopkins.com, BrittanyHopkins. I have a video library of over 500 yoga classes, meditations. My book, you can find my book there. It's on Kindle, print, audiobook is being released tomorrow, I think.
Oh,
And yeah, on social media, brittany.hopkins.switlick. And yeah, I would love to hear from people of what questions and how I can support.
that is so amazing. Well, thank you so much for doing this because it's so needed. So thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, and Unbreakable Moms, I hope that as you listen to this episode that you realize it's okay. And remember the triangle. That was really impactful for me, and that your ego might be talking, not yourself. So you can do it and go out and make it a great day. Beautiful moms, remember, you are unbreakable. Keep illuminating the world with your strength, pursuing your dreams, and reveling in the splendor of motherhood. This is Charisse Walker, bidding you farewell for now. Stay tuned for more empowering conversations on the next episode of the Unbreakable Mompreneurs podcast. Until then, keep shining bright. Signing off with love, Charisse Walker.